Hello and welcome to the final episode of Let's Play Planet Coaster Project Globe Explorer here on Theme Park Worldwide. It's episode 30 and what an amazing adventure we've had across the past 30 episodes. It's been absolutely incredible to put my dream theme park together. This adventure taking you all around the world in Project Globe Explorer that of course we later named as Atlas Adventure Resort. And when this series started back in September 2019, let's just say the world was a very different place as to what it is now. And I look back at this, I've built my dream theme park and put this park together in this virtual world, but it's been many months now since I've stepped into a real theme park, and I know that's the case for many people who are also watching this, but let's hope that day can come again soon. But yes, we're opening the park to guests here, and as you can see, we've got various different ways that guests can make their way down to the main entrance of the park. You can either get on the monorail ride, and that'll take you down to the entrance, hence what these guests are doing here. You've got them sat in the front there, and we're just going to have a bit of an overview of the park in this episode. We're going to have an on-ride POV from every ride. Of course, I won't show you the full POVs of some of the flat rides and stuff, because they're all the same as what you can get in the game. It's all the theming what makes the rides, but I will be showing you on-ride footage from everything, and we'll have full POVs of the different roller coasters, dark rides that have been built, and yeah, it's just going to be nice to have a bit of an overview of the park. So as you can see, guests are making their way now down to the main entrance. They can take the monorail, they can walk, they can go on the trams, and we'll see those in action just here as well, and yeah, just really sort of making their way from the car parks and down to the entrance of Atlas Adventure Resort. Now I'd just like to say an absolutely massive thank you to each and every one of you that has watched every episode in this series. Hundreds of hours of work have gone into creating the park, and you've got to think as well, not just in terms of the creation of the actual theme park and the hotels and everything that's come together, but also the editing of these videos. So it really means so much to me, the fact that all of you stuck by it, and especially the people that have watched every single episode. Thank you so much. Also an extended thank you to everyone who suggested names for rides, hotels and attractions within Atlas Adventure Resort. So thank you very much to all of those people that spent the time to come up with some really good name suggestions and also storylines for some of the rides as well. I loved going through all of them, so thank you to everyone who put that extra effort in to come up with some fantastic stories and names. And of course it was really tough to be able to actually pick which ones I wanted to feature in the park, but I tell you what, there were some amazing suggestions, so thank you so much to everyone, and of course everybody who has had their name picked out and featured. Well done, and I hope you enjoyed the little shout out that you've had in the video as well. Now, as we can see, guests are making their way down to the entrance area. We've got the ticket centre there that's built up various different shops and stalls all in there. And of course, this is the entrance area to the park, the United Kingdom. You've got that really nice building style all around the side. I look back on this now, of course, I started work on all this back in episode 2. And I look at this now and think, blimey, I loved what I did with the entrance. All of the decor and details on the buildings. All the planting around there as well. I just wanted to sort of narrate over this episode really and go through it and look over things that I really like what I did, other things that I would have changed looking back, and just sort of go through it instead of a promotional video style. I thought let's sort of talk about it and go through the park in this way and sort of narrate over it. As you can see, we've got guests making their way there down the main entrance streets. You got the train station up there, the train's coming in, and of course we'll be taking a ride on there as well. So the train is one of 4 different rides within the United Kingdom themed area of the park, and of course we've got the cavalry carousel just here, which is right down at the bottom of that entrance street, perfectly lined up in a really nice position. Love the colour schemes what I picked as well, with the purple all around here. I just think that really works actually, and added to it really nicely. And then of course we've got the Mack spinning roller coaster known as the Magician's Curse. So we're having a front row ride on this. Of course, as I was building the rides, I showed you a front row POV. When we was just over halfway into the series and we opened the park and I did a promotional style video, I showed you some back POVs to most rides and plenty of off-ride footage. So in this episode I just wanted to focus on a front row POV And there we go, down that first drop, making our way down to that helix, the water effect there. Really nice. I was very pleased with the layout that I did with this. So he's got his hands up. There we go, that's me on there. Got my hands up, got my chest-mounted GoPro on. If it was a real theme park, I'd definitely allow GoPros. Oh, there we go. Fire effect on that nice little horseshoe elements. Oh, lovely. Bit of air time. And then up into the brake run. Lovely. But if that isn't quite for you, of course, we've got another relaxing and enjoyable ride within the United Kingdom themed area, and that was the Professor Tully's Tinkered Trolleys Vintage Cars ride. I was pleased with this. I wish maybe I did a little bit more of a dark ride section around some of this, but then I look at it and think of all the landscaping that I put in, all the nice plants and stuff around the side. I think, yeah, it worked together well, but yeah, I was very, very pleased with how the United Kingdom ended up. Over to Spain then now, and the Mac double launch coaster known as Alboroto Chaos at the Camilo Winery. So here we go, there's certainly some chaos taking place here today, and off we go, launching straight through. Some great theming there, and I really like what I did with this coaster. It's probably my favourite coaster actually that I've ever built in Planet Coaster. I just love how it interacts with the rest of the area up to the top there. Now, of course, you may have noticed, I've mentioned this for a few episodes now, the FPS isn't amazing, the frames per second, but I'm glad that I managed to finish the park to the standard that I wanted to. And as much as I would have loved to have added in a couple more areas and maybe another hotel, that's something what you guys can do if you want to download this when it is in the Steam Workshop. Just a couple of days' time from this being uploaded. If you're watching this after that, it will already be in the Steam Workshop. Dropping down now into that second launch. Love all the boxes and smoke effects in there. Nice interaction with the building. And straight down. Oh, yes, up into another inversion. Beautiful. Yeah, I was really pleased with how this came together. Some quite snappy transitions. I wanted some really nice quick changes from left to right and stuff. A bit like how an Intermin coaster would be, like Taron or something. But of course, this is a Mac coaster that we went for this. But I wanted it to be quite snappy, and love all the decor that went in around Alboroto Chaos at the Camilo Winery. Really, really nice ride. Flamenco was the Huss top spin that we added into the area. I thought it was a good choice actually, a nice classic flat ride to put into this area. You can see a bit of on-ride footage from it there. In terms of guests in the park, so I wasn't able to let as many guests in as I wanted because of the FPS. There's about 1,500 guests inside the park at the time of recording this, so some rides I've had to put them into testing mode to get the POVs because there was no guests in the area. So you'll notice on some of them there's the test water dummies in place. But yeah, we move on to the final ride in the Spanish area, and that's the S&S Screaming Swing Soaring Sangria. And again, I thought this was a nice addition actually, especially above that building there, what's just off to the right of the entrance. And like I say, that's a little building what can be edited or removed, that'll lead into a new themed area just off to the right of this Spanish themed area. I mean, you could take that building out and put a pathway in there, or you could keep the building and have that as like your entrance marquee, leading down into a new themed area. Oh, over into China now, and Dynasty of the Sky, the observation tower that we put in there, and you can see the guests really enjoying it, looking out over the views of the park. And of course you can see some of the accommodation over there in the distance as well. And that was the thing with this park. It was a big focus on traveling around the world, and of course seeing all these different sites all together in one place, heavily inspired by Epcot and also Islands of Adventure as well. So a bit of Disney and a bit of Universal inspiration. Epcot because of traveling around the world, but Islands of Adventure because of the big lake in the middle, and some coasters like that go into it, like the Hulk, for example. So yeah, I was really pleased with how the China area came together. And of course the signature ride, Dragon Flight, a B&M Flawless coaster. Oh, looks great, that view over there now. It's all complete around the lake. And then down we go on that first drop, straight up into that Cobra roll over the lake. Absolutely gorgeous. I've built some really nice coasters in this park. I'm really pleased with how they came together. Let me know your favourite roller coaster, what I've built here at Atlas Adventure Resort. I would love to know. And also let me know if you're going to be downloading the park as well. I look forward to seeing what you guys think if you download it, and I'll make sure that the park's all ready for you when you downloaded it, ready for you to open it and do what you want with it, really, you know. So I'm looking forward to hearing if you've had a little play about with it and stuff in the future and done some changes to it. Nice bit of airtime there underneath the monorail track. I was pleased with the monorail, how that all came together as well. Through the mid-course brake run into a corkscrew, all by them rocks and waterfalls. Love how the people in Planet Coaster look at their hands like that. It's quite funny, isn't it? Through a tunnel, some great airtime. Nice mix of airtime and inversions there on Dragon Flight. Gorgeous. And round into the brake run just there. So over into Africa now. And of course, the first ride that we can see here in the Africa theme section is the Gerstlauer Skyfly Ariluka. I think we pronounce it. Some nice African names that people came up with for this. Beautiful themed area. It's quite a small area, but I was pleased with how it all came together as well. To be honest, I'm pleased with all of the areas in this park, apart from one, and I'll talk more about that when we get up to there shortly. I'm sure there's quite a few of you out there that may know which one I'm going to speak about, because I have mentioned it slightly before, but I'm going to go into a bit more detail about that this time. But yeah, that's Ariluka or Iriluka, the Gerstlauer Skyfly. Again, my pronunciation is terrible, but I was pleased with how this looked, and the storyline was really nice for that as well. We've got the boat ride that runs in the Africa theme section. That's Fish River Canyon, the legend. A YouTube user came up with a brilliant storyline for that. And it's the same with all the rides. They've all got a really nice name, and the storylines that some of them have got are brilliant. They really are. So again, a huge thank you to everyone who has played a part in Project Globe Explorer, my biggest and most ambitious Planet Coaster project that I've ever done. And it's been really nice to do a big park like this, and like I say, I intend for this to be my last big park now. I plan on working on some smaller projects next in the game, but I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Onto the wooden roller coaster now, and another name that I struggled to pronounce, but I really liked it. It's Kukanyaga, and this is a really nice GCI wooden roller coaster that we put in. Maybe the layout with this I could have done a little bit more with, but I was pleased with it, how it still came together. I do wish now that I'd done a few other indoor sections with this actually, and had it go through a few more buildings, maybe similar to Black Mamba at Phantasialand. And yes, that's a B&M inverted roller coaster. But I really like the close interactions, and I kind of started that, as we can see here, when we come out of this corner and down into the drop. You start to go through some buildings and stuff, but it would have been really nice if I could have put a few more in, actually, looking back on this now. And maybe just doing a few more different elements on there, but it came together really nice with the Millennium Flyer trains on there. Nice sort of GCI layout that I'm quite pleased with actually on there. Inspired a little bit by what you get on Woden as well, in terms of the dip in, down, and quite low to the ground for quite a bit of the layout, but a nice big first drop. And yeah, all these African style buildings, this African village that we built all around the side, I was very pleased with. Double down there, and then a helix back round under and up into the brake run just there. But yeah, that was a really nice ride for the wooden roller coaster Kukanyaga. As we move in to the United States of America now, and in particular New York, because of how big the USA is, I wanted to just pick sort of one part of America to represent in this, and I decided to go for New York. The main reasoning, because I was going to build this Giga Coaster that of course we built, Lady Liberty's High Flyer, and we're starting off here with a ride there on the Central Park Carousel, followed by 51 The Drop, which is a gyro drop tower that we put into place there. So yeah, you can see we're just making our way up there now and waiting to drop. So I'm really pleased with how all of this came together in this park, but one wish I do have now is that I'd gone for a different area of America for this. And the skyscrapers that I've put in, as much as I think they look really good when you're in the area, from some of the other areas in the park, I think the skyscrapers kind of take away from them a little bit. So I look back on this now and wish that I had gone for another part of America and not gone for New York with the skyscrapers and industrial style look. So I'm still pleased with how it looks when you're in the area, but it's more the sightlines and how it looks from other areas such as Spain and the Netherlands. So I do wish I'd gone for something different now, but the idea was, because I'm putting in this 300-foot tall coaster, let's go for some big buildings and stuff around it, like you're going up above these skyscrapers on this big adventure. And that's of course what Lady Liberty's High Flyer turned into. So in the area here, I think it looks great, but it's more from the other side of the lake and around from some of the other areas that are bordering it on either side that I'm not as keen now. But I put it in, and I was pleased with how it looks in the area, which is the main thing. We had a ride there on the air race, which is Empire Flights, and then straight on to Lady Liberty's High Flyer, that B&M Giga coaster that we've put in there, over 300 foot tall. This is a really nice coaster. I'm pleased with the layout that I did, but yeah, I do wish we'd gone for a different theme. Like I said, I wanted to have USA represented here, but I just kind of wish that I'd gone for something a little bit different now in terms of exactly how the USA was represented. And I was looking back thinking maybe I should have done something like California and done like the Chinese theatre and the California sort of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and then the hills with Hollywood on, and these could have been like the Hollywood Hills in the background. So that's something that I wish I'd maybe gone with now. However, I don't look back, always look forward, but the coaster is really, really nice here. You got that water splash element down at the bottom there that all came together beautifully. Some big moments of airtime on this as well, and of course this wonderful turnaround section. There's another expansion pad just at the back of there. You can just see where them trees are that you can build on as well. That can be another themed area added into this park. That was a really nice sideways banked element before heading straight back up into some more camelbacks. Straight down and next to the buildings. Like I say, I think the buildings look great in the area. It's more from when you're further away. There's also space for a dark ride or another coaster just behind this. Actually, there's a plot of land there, so there's plenty of expansion places that I've left for you guys if you do decide to download this and play the game yourself. Of course, have a little bit of an explore. Making our way around now and up into the final sections of the ride. Another little airtime hill. Straight back over there. Of course, you can see the rest of the New York area off to the right. Africa in the distance there. And then up into the brake run just there. Really, really nice how that's come together with that coaster. The dark ride that I built here, the Final Cut Menace in Manhattan, I was very pleased with how this came together. And of course, I did a really nice custom onboard soundtrack with this. You can hear that both in the episode where I built this and also in that promotional video that I did as well. And like I was saying, I did consider doing this as a promotional style like that. However, I wanted to talk more in detail and go over it fully, everything that I've built. But yeah, this was very nicely done. I kind of wish now I put doors that opened on each one of these scenes. I look at it now and wish that the scene, you couldn't just see it there straight away. Like now you'd see some doors just open up. So yeah, I do wish that I had gone for that. However, I think it's come together really nicely. I'm pleased with again how it looks. You've got the nice glass windows at the back there, so you get a live view, whether it's daytime or sunset or at night. You get that live view looking out the back there. And that's exactly what I wanted. But the scenes that we put in here and special effects and details with the onboard audio and customized soundtrack that I added onto it all came together as a really nice heavily themed experience. And the Final Cut Menace in Manhattan had a brilliant storyline, and the name's great, but that storyline that a YouTube user who's watched the series came up with, I thought fit it really, really well, and just a very different style ride. And of course loosely based on Tower of Terror, with it all being a bit mysterious. And of course you got that big finale drop there that leads straight back down, and we can see the film crew down there at the bottom as we slowly start to reverse and make our way back to the offload area on the Final Cut Menace in Manhattan. But yeah, another great dark ride that we've got here at the park. Of course, I went on to build another dark ride later on after this, and I would have done some more, but as we all know, I was struggling quite a bit with the FPS with this one. We had the balloon ride, Central Park Flyers. go in here as a nice family ride. I thought that'd fit in really well with this whole area based around Central Park, so I thought that was a nice addition. And this cube ride that we put in, the Radio City Music Box, came together really well, of course based on Radio City in New York, and again I thought this went in nicely into the area, especially at night with the lighting package, and you got all the buildings around the front there that are very nice as well, and some really nice details and stuff on there that's just come together beautifully, that I'm really pleased about. But yeah, that's the Radio City Music Box, followed by the junior coaster that we put into this area as well, and this was Journey Through Central Park, a New York adventure. So of course we had a lot of rides put into this area, a nice mix of thrill and family rides, so I thought we need a nice family coaster in here. And that's exactly what this is, does what it says on the tin. Not particularly heavily themed, but it's got some very nice landscaping around it. We've got the lake in the middle with all the rocks and plants and trees around it. And you get some great views up towards Lady Liberty's High Flyer as well as you're going round on it. And it's good really because you've got the big thrill coaster and then a nice family coaster in the area as well, with a dart ride and a nice mix of flats. So it ended up New York, a really nice variety of attractions in there, but I do wish that I'd gone for a bit of a different area of America now to be represented in the park. So as we leave New York and the United States of America, we make our way into the Arctic, and this was an area that went through some change as I was working on it. Originally had some different plans for it and then decided to change them as we were working on the project, and I'm really pleased that I did because this came together beautifully. We've got the giant discovery here, Experiment Eco, great name, and all about this area and this research facility that's going on in the Arctic. And I was very pleased with how the show building for the dark ride Project Snowstorm that we can just see at the back there all blended in nicely, and of course this giant discovery swinging out over the water as well, so it has a really nice impact from the other areas of the park. And then of course we take our ride on Project Snowstorm, that huge dark ride that I built using a boat ride, and I was very pleased with how this came together. So we've got a full POV here, however instead of having the actual audio on the ride, I just thought I'd talk you through it now and some of the different scenes that I'm very pleased with, and maybe some of the bits that have changed as well. If you do want to see this ride with the audio that I'd actually designed for it, you can see that back in the episode where I'd built it. But yeah, this scene here I was really pleased with all the trees and just like a bit of a build up. Wish that I'd changed some of the lighting flashing at the back there now. That was coming from the walls on the other side. But these are all things that you learn, aren't they, as you're going along and you look at it after and think, yeah, actually, I wish I did that. And it all comes down to, you know, having motivation and to put these together and work on it. A lot of people have commented and said, fair play, Sean, for keeping motivated throughout this project, because it's a big thing to take on, and honestly it really is. And you know, I'm more than ready now to move on to another project, but you know, to keep yourself motivated building something like this, a full park, is crazy. Especially, you know, I haven't just worked on one ride. We've built numerous rides, various themed areas, hotels, and the whole area has been filled up. There's not much empty space on the map, and just enough for you guys to come in and add your own bits. But yeah, I was very pleased with how this dart ride came together, and really nice ambience, especially at night on that outdoor section there. I like actually how you can see the Giga Coaster over in the distance, and the colour scheme of that with the blue all kind of fits in with what we did here in the Arctic themed area. I was really pleased with this scene here and how this all looked. Probably wouldn't have done any changes in here. You got like the boat that's on fire, all the smoke and fire effects all in here that came together really nicely. But yeah, you know, I wouldn't have really done any changes in here. Maybe some lighting changes just so there's not as much shining up on the roof. But other than that, I think all the lightning bolts, of course, that'd be done by strobe lights and special effects if this was a real park. I thought it came together lovely. I really do, and it's one of my favourite rides that I've built in Planet Coaster, this. And like I say, if you want to hear it with the actual onboard audio that I made for it, check it out in that episode. And yeah, this is a point really for me to say, you know, what's coming next. And this dark ride I really enjoy putting together, and I want to go down the route of doing some really heavily themed coasters and dark rides just as standalone projects without them having to go into a park necessarily, just as a standalone project that I can build. And that is the plan next. So you're going to see me build a few one-off rides that I've had in my head for a while that I've wanted to build. That will include some dark rides and coasters, and they're going to come together not too far away from where we are now. I'm going to have a little Planet Coaster break, and then I'll be posting those within, you know, a few weeks from now. So make sure you stay tuned for those. And of course, here on the Planet Coaster playlist on Theme Park Worldwide, you can see everything what I've got planned. But I love building dark rides, I love doing heavy theming, and I want to do some massively themed coasters and stuff like what I've never done before, and stuff that I couldn't do inside a full park because it just wouldn't cope with the FPS. You know, I want to really go to town and do some ridiculously heavily themed designs, and that's what you can look forward to coming up next with Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide. There won't be a set date for them, they will be released as and when, but I look forward to putting those out there at some point in the near future. Of course, we've got a third ride within the Arctic themed area. That's a Huss Enterprise called Swirling Snowmobiles. I thought that was a really nice name. Of course, it looks a bit more spacey in the game. However, you know, it would actually be a snowmobile that would be attached all around the side there as well on these swirling snowmobiles. But yeah, again, I thought that came together really nicely with where it was in the area, with Project Snowstorm just behind it. I just thought the outside of that show building came together really nice as this like research testing facility, which is down there at the back of the area, and I was very pleased with how all of that came together. But yeah, likewise, I really want to know what your favourite rides and favourite themed areas are inside the park now that it's complete, or as far as I can complete it. I'd love to know what your favourites are, so make sure you let me know. Over into the Netherlands now, and of course the final area to look round here in the park before we have another look at the accommodation and wrap up the series. But yeah, we've got the River Rapids ride that we put in, Adventure on the Amstel. Again, I was very pleased with this. I kind of wish I'd done a little bit more theming around some of the other sections now, but I was starting to get a bit lost for inspiration and ideas for doing parts of the Netherlands area. I thought it came together really nice, like this section with the buildings and stuff, but as we went a little bit further around the back, I was starting to run out of ideas for where to go with things. So I kind of wish that I'd done a little bit more there now, but I was struggling to know exactly what to go with that. We've got the swinging ship that we put in there, the Flying Dutchman, nice traditional name that we just had to slot in there somewhere into this park. So yeah, I was very pleased with how that swung out into the area and then over onto the lake as well. We then had the chair swing hovering over Holland. I thought that was a great name suggestion. When I saw it commented, I thought I've got to go for that. I thought it worked brilliantly as the name for this. And you got some really nice close interaction there with the buildings as you come around the corner up against them. We had the little spinning flat ride in there. We just kept that nice and simple. Magic Twirl as the name for that one. I just thought it fit really nicely with that. Just nice and basic. So Magic Twirl for the spinning ride. And then for the Ferris wheel, we went for tulip bulbs. And of course, you would actually be sitting in a tulip if this was I could customize that. Of course, you can't customize it because that's just how that looks in the game, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what we would have gone with for that one. But yeah, really nice little tulip bulbs Ferris wheel. And then the octopus ride that we had in there as well, Tangled Tentacles. I liked the name for that. I thought that worked really well. And that just slotted in quite nicely in the gardens area. We had quite a lot of green space inside the Netherlands. And of course, we had the main River Rapids being the highlight attraction, but quite a lot of green space around there as well. And the only ride inside the theme park that we've not yet had a ride on is of course the Atlas Adventure Railway, and that runs around various different stops inside the park. Very nice transportation ride that connects up various different areas with each other, and that's the thing that I'm very pleased with this park, is the layout of it. A nice circle around the lake, sort of one main path really around through the areas. Yes, there's little paths and stuff what spin off into different areas. However, in general, it's one big route all the way around the lake, and I was really pleased with that. This park is everything that I wanted it to be and so much more. And of course, a big part of this was not just the theme park, but it was working on the resort side of things. It's something what a lot of people don't really do in Planet Coaster that much. So what we've got here is the entertainment district. We've got a couple of pubs and restaurants all along there. As you can see, guests are enjoying that area, just chilling out on the benches and can enjoy various different restaurants. You got the Lakeview Cafe that we put in there. You've got the big steamboat that's a nice piece of theming with a restaurant opposite there, places for entertainment and live shows. So yeah, we really did a nice job with the entertainment district there. Now, a way of getting around the resort when you're outside of the theme park is, of course, on the Atlas Adventure Sky Ride. And we can see that in action here, just departing from one of the stations. That's the station that's actually closest to the main entrance of the theme park. And this gets some really nice aerial views over the whole resort area. And this is what I wanted to do with this project. It was all about adding in the full resort. And that was car parks, hotels, an entertainment district, and the theme park. And I managed to do that. I completed it just how I wanted it to. You got the little boat ride running around underneath there as well, and then of course looking over towards the Spanish lodges, all of Miners Keep, that really nice area, and we'll take a closer look at that shortly again as well. But you look across, you've got the Oriental Palace Hotel over there in the background, which is that Chinese hotel that we built, and of course we're making our way over to that now on board the Sky Ride just here. You can see them kids are enjoying themselves on there, looking out at all the different views. And if we look back the other way as well, you'll see that their parents are in there enjoying the views all across the park and resort. And that was what it was all about, putting this full resort project together. And I really feel like, you know, this is by far the biggest park I've built in Planet Coaster, and it will be the biggest park I probably ever build in Planet Coaster. I don't intend on building something of this scale again, but what I do intend on building is some smaller, even more heavily detailed parks and attractions. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to build a park again. It's just I do build some parks, they're going to be smaller but really heavily detailed, even more so than what I go with already. I want to really take it to another level of details, but obviously I can't do a large park like that because the computer at the moment won't handle it. But the hotel here was lovely. The Oriental Palace came together really nicely, the Chinese hotel, and that was like a mid-range sort of hotel that we put in. Of course, we've got the boats, bringing around all the resort as well. These are for resort guests to use between the hotels and the theme park and that entertainment district. So these are really nice that we put in this boat ride with the purple and white boats that can transport guests. And this is Miners Keep, the budget accommodation. But I tell you what, I was very pleased with the theming. A very immersive Spanish atmosphere with a great storyline that we had around there. And if you want to know all these storylines and stuff for the hotels and areas and rides, check out the individual episodes. There's 30 episodes in the series. You can go back right to the start of when I started to build Atlas Adventure Resort, and a little bit of an overview there of Miners Keep. And you got them luxury lodges that look over the water, and you've got the boats running just out the back of them. I thought they came together really nicely. The reception building there and restaurant area all located there with a nice balcony that looks over the back. You got the lake pathway that leads round to the Oriental Palace, that Chinese hotel. And another look there at the luxury lodges that are on the waterfront and looking over towards the theme park. All of those have got balconies with a theme park view. Guests can also step on board the boat ride, and that'll transfer them down to the luxury hotel that we built, and this is the Atlas Manor Hotel. There it is. You got both of the wings off to the side and the main part of the hotel in the middle. I loved this hotel, what I put in. Very classy style. It's got the monorail that runs through the middle section of it there. It doesn't have a monorail station inside, but the monorail does run directly through it as a nice feature. That would run through the restaurant. We've got got a nice swimming pool area out the back there. The boats running past, all the parasols out for the swimming pool. And that's that luxury hotel that I wanted to put in, that luxury vibe that we wanted to create there with this. And it's a really nice, gorgeous hotel, great colour scheme, all themed around the United Kingdom and this grand manor. I thought it worked really nicely directly opposite the entrance to the park as well. And you can see some of the pathways there just around the resort area outside of the theme park, and people enjoying all of the different views. But what an absolutely amazing adventure this has been, putting together this park. Project Globe Explorer, certainly something that I'm never going to forget building. Look at that, an overview of the park, but you've got some expansion space, and you know, you look at that now, it is a complete park, but there's space for you to add things in as well. But I just want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you that's watched 30 different episodes in this series. There's over 100 episodes of Planet Coaster now, and I tell you what, there's still more to come. I look forward to putting together some more heavily detailed individual rides coming soon here on the channel, so stay tuned to our social media for all of the updates on that. And once again, thank you very much. And we put together this amazing fireworks show in the previous episode, number 29, with a custom soundtrack. You can see the full show in that episode, and I just thought we'd play it now just so you can see it from a few more different angles, just that finale section with the fireworks all over Atlas Adventure Resort. What an amazing project this has been, and thank you to all of you that have been there from the start. That is it, the part's complete, the project is over, but it will be up for download in the Steam Workshop in just a few days time. But in the meantime, keep watching Theme Park Worldwide, and I look forward to sharing more Planet Coaster projects in the future here on our channel. That means it's time to cue those credits. See you soon from Globe Explorer.